Hi and welcome. Today I'm going to provide an overview on a presentation that I gave at Dreamforce, Maximizing Business Impact with a Business Analyst Mindset. This forward-looking statement is a slide that's essentially saying do not make any purchasing decisions based on what is being presented today. My name is Denise Carboni. I'm a Senior Delivery Manager with RafterOne. I'm also a Salesforce Trailblazer Community Leader for the Chicago Admin Group. I'm also a member of the Salesforce MVP Hall of Fame. So a little bit about what inspired me to put together this presentation was a firsthand account based on my experience on starting this journey as a BA. I am 6 months shy of my 20-year anniversary working within the Salesforce ecosystem. I started on the client side and I was there for 11 years. I joined the partner side in 2015 and have been there for the past 8 years. Again, my journey began as a BA to external admin. I played that role between the liaison between the business and the IT. So really understanding business requirements, translating that into how the system can work and doing the documentation. I also had the privilege and honor of advising and working with the Salesforce credentialing team on developing the business analyst certification that was released last year. So some takeaways. So again, my goal here is to inspire new ways of thinking and approach, to learn some tricks and some skills about what the BAs do and some areas of focus. Learn how to become that change agent. Learn these skills if they are of interest to boost your career, and then take again these skills and areas of focus away and utilize them in the work you're doing today, make positive impacts on that work you're delivering. So what does a business analyst do? So I think there's a lot of common misconceptions in that business analysts are super technical, or all they do is they're glorified note takers, or they just work on project requirements. That is absolutely not the truth. The goal of a business analyst and really the mindset and their skills of a business analyst all kind of come back to a unique blend in that they're focused on process first and technology second. So they have a unique set of skill sets in that they're going to focus on the whys, the why they're doing it, make sure that they're communicating well amongst the stakeholders and their internal team members. So the business analyst really has a lot of skin in the game when it comes to building and making sure that we're capturing everything up front and that the team is on board and taking along the stakeholders in your internal team along that journey. So I briefly touched on skills, and here are, in my opinion, some of the top skills of the BAs today. Communication, so that is written and verbal. Being able to be a good documented requirements writing, that's really important. And elicitation of requirements, that is, again, utilizing that skill of communication, being able to really ask those pointed questions on the whys, really understanding the root of what we're working on. Being able to do process diagramming, workflows, ERDs, something that's really going to help tell that story. Being analytical, being able to really build and develop and nurture relationships among your stakeholders as well as your project team members, and just loving the ability to problem solve. If you like problem solving, a BA role is a perfect match for you. So now we're going to talk a little bit about mindset. So everyone actually falls somewhere on the continuum for each of these mindsets. The great thing is you can actually change your own mindset. You got to think about, what are your plans? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to accomplish? We all have heard of PMA, or positive mental attitude. This is, the same thing when it comes to a BA. You approach the problem differently. You think about it differently. You think about it as a challenge. You think about it in, a growth perspective. You think about it, how can you positively affect the outcome of this engagement? So there's a lot of this involved with thinking like a BA and moving forward on those engagements. So this is actually one of my favorite published authors, Yulia Kosarenko. I thought this definition was really fitting for this presentation, and that the BA mindset drives business analyst motivation and behavior, especially in challenging professional situations. The most successful BAs have the mindset focused on achieving a shared understanding of the business problems and requirements. Now that is actually going back to and related back to the communication and building relationships. They are kind of the glue for a project team and can also be hands-on keyboard in some cases. But in these cases, we're going to talk about some of the key tactics of BA skills and techniques that are used to help, again, drive towards overall project success and make those positive business impacts. So one of these tools, and also it's a skill, is to be able to capture this, documentation and requirements in a requirements traceability matrix, an RTM. It's also an approach to ensure that the solution complies with the requirements that were initially captured. So this is a great tool for scope management, scope and risk, to be honest. So you can also use this matrix to identify the relationships with other artifacts that you might have within this project. You can refer back to workflows or ERDs, but it's a great tool to encompass all of the artifacts that you are keeping and managing on behalf of this engagement. So another technique or tactic or something we'll use from a BA perspective is trying to identify the personas. Who are we trying to solve for? So basically, a persona represents a group of users based on roles, responsibilities, or work streams or needs. Identifying your personas up front will help with designing the solutions to deliver that functionality that's most relevant to your audience. Now, personas are also used in your development of user stories and also your testing scenarios. So when you're ready for UAT, you may have different test scripts created for different personas. So this is something that is really important, because when you're looking at capturing requirements, who are you solving for? And if you don't have full engagement from all the right stakeholders, you might be going down a path where the solution is very narrow-minded, not on purpose, but just because of who you had access to at that time. Maybe there are additional personas that weren't necessarily represented up front. So it's really good to try to ensure that you're working and you understand all personas and everyone that's going to be touching this solution. Okay, next, we're going to talk about user stories. So user stories are actual simple descriptions of a feature told from the user's point of view. Now, there could be as simple as 1 or 2 sentences that describe a persona completing a task to accomplish a specific goal. They can also be a little bit different depending on the business or industry you're in, but ideally the goal is kind of a same shared goal of the ability to provide a general understanding of what the user needs, wants to do in the system, and why. They do not provide the entire requirement. User stories are really going to help with making sure it's being built, again, for those personas and then the whys. Acceptance criteria. So this is defined as the conditions that must be satisfied for a user story to be accepted. Acceptance criteria should be testable as well. Another element and tactic and technique that's used by business analysts is the definition of done, or the DoD. This is an agreement between the parties involved that defines when a deliverable is actually met from a technical perspective. Defining this up front is going to be super helpful for making sure that there's a shared understanding of when you think something's done, the other party can easily agree upon it. I think everyone's been in those scenarios where they could be a lot of back and forth or a lot of tweaking on something and it's not quite done yet. So this actually is a little bit of an insurance policy to ensure that what's being built, what that criteria is, everything that's captured up front, and the agreement of when it's done. It's really good. And this is another, again, technique or tactic that's used by BAs. And the last item is communication and relationship building. Again, this was back on our skills. I do believe a lot of admins today possess this, but actually this is something that is a superpower for BAs. It's, we all talked about it earlier in this presentation, but it's a unique combination of skill sets that the BA has, very process-minded. Being a good communicator and relationship builder is going to help create that alignment within your project team. The shared understanding of what the business issues are and the requirements, helping with that stakeholder management and aligning with those business stakeholders, being and actually digging into true business analysis, utilizing data, is a very strong quality for our BAs, but actually being the analytical skill, having that analytical skill, I should say, was something we talked about earlier as well. So, and asking those right questions. That's where the whys are coming in. Having that curious mindset and digging in and asking those questions to make sure that we're eliciting the right questions to get the right answers. We're identifying the right, again, group of personas. We know who we're building this solution for and what, and we should be asking those groups the right questions during the elicitation process. So in the end, here are some examples of some positive impacts adopting a business mindset or BA mindset can support. So again, using some of the tactics we talked about earlier, so the requirements traceability matrix, you can have good scope management. By using some of these techniques and tactics that were talked about earlier, you can start to create documentation if you don't already have it. Having that documentation later on will help with that minimizing of your technical debt. The goal of also digging in with elicitation can uncover gaps in solutioning, gaps to make sure that we're covering and identifying all the personas, but all the pain points. That is really important. Improve adoption overall, making sure that I call it all the time, dotting your I's, crossing your T's, to make sure that everything is well-rounded, you have the right documentation, we're working with the right people, we're solving for those gaps. And something that's a very big message we've heard lately, especially around AI, is cleaner orgs, right? So data management is really big if you want to utilize and get the best and most ROI out of AI. So hopefully this all resonates very well with everyone, but again, I've had experience, and these were kind of the things that I've highlighted throughout my career and at a high theme level, but I truly believe in adopting a BA mindset can bring your business true success. You can scan this QR code for additional BA related content, and I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. We would love to get your opinion on this content, so please leave us some feedback on the comments section below. If you did like this content, give that like button a tap, and of course, if you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the Salesforce Admins YouTube channel. If you want to learn more about being a Salesforce admin in general, head on over to admin.salesforce.com. Thanks again.